Hello, welcome to Gwen's Twisted Limbs Yoga. You'll need a chair and a blanket, a strap or a yoga strap or a scarf of some kind, so that when we come into a yin style pose called cat pulling its tail, you might need to lasso your tail, which will be your foot. So go ahead and just place that over by the chair. Come on onto your side like a fetal position. And then from there, feel right over your hip to the lower back. That's where you want to have the blanket. So feel there and notice where it's located. And then go ahead and roll your back onto the blanket. Bring your calves onto the chair. Press your heels into the chair and just let yourself adjust. Maybe you need to move up or back so that the chair isn't tugging anywhere. You don't feel like you're putting up with something. And then once you feel that you can rest, please do. Let the arms rest by your side or hands on the belly, yogi's choice here. A little rock to the back of the skull. So we have the pelvis elevated, the calves onto the chair, and a light little rock to the back of the skull. Eyes are closed. Let yourself settle here. Your doing is done for the moment. Scan the body. Feel into your feet. Let the toes have a little wriggle. Notice how well the lower leg can relax from the knee all the way down to the heel, through the shin down to the calf, to the chair. Take a few breaths there as you feel into your beautiful knees here. And then from the knees all the way down into the hip, into the blanket. From hip to hip through the blanket. All the way up through the rib cage to the shoulders. To the back of the skull. Notice how that feels. Take a deep breath through the nose. And a cleansing breath through the mouth, like a natural sigh. 2 more like that. Go ahead and inhale. Belly rises. Exhale. Then inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. Come into your Ujjayi breath. Dial your attention to the back of the throat now. What does that sound like? Maybe a wave of breath. All the way in, filling the belly. Exhaling all the way up into the crown. As you inhale, the belly rises, that fullness. And as you exhale, all the way up and out through the crown. Inhale all the way through the legs as the belly rises to the feet, and exhaling all the way upward as we dial our attention into this rhythm of our breath. Inhale all the way downward, feel the belly rise. Exhale all the way up. This is called alignment breath, aligning all of your energy centers now, all the way up and down the spine. Notice how that feels to connect, to check in, and connect all the way inward to you, to your source. So how about 2 more just like this? Inhaling, the belly rises. And exhaling all the way up through the crown as you connect. And then 1 more just like that. On your next natural breath, feel your right foot and drag that heel to the edge of the chair so that your hand can rest on the thigh, and you can move it inward and outward. And if that's not available for you, this is where you can use your strap as well behind the knee. If you need to lengthen the arms for any reason. And now slow that down with the heel resting on the edge of the chair. Notice what it's like to move it one way and then slowly the other. Not to a point of sensation. So if there was a goal to this, there would be 0 sensation in the hip crease, in the thigh, in the knee. So maybe for you, it's a micro movement, so a very small close, a very small outward movement and inward. And how about 1 more? As the knee comes all the way back, go ahead and hang on to both edges of the knee, just below. Flex that right foot and send the heel up like a yawn. Point and flex that foot for a moment. This is where you can use a strap behind the knee, behind that right thigh, and then let it gently circle. And then the other direction. Pause there. Drag the left foot over behind that right thigh on the chair, just right over. And then let that right thigh rest, like you're crossing your legs. The knees might feel like they're running down the center of the body, thereabouts. Notice how that feels. Notice the knees, the back of the top knee resting just below that left knee maybe, all the way down into the hips. From here, this is a really nice pose to open up the hips. We're going to come into that just a little bit more. So go ahead and on your next breath, drag that heel towards you. Feel what it's like in your hip crease, and then drag it back all the way as far as you can to relax and soften that effort. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Feel the belly rise, and then exhale through the nose or the mouth. We'll come into that again when you're ready. On your next breath, drag the heel towards you. Pause there, feel and notice the hip crease, where that sensation is, that squeeze. And then go ahead and bring it all the way back and feel how well you can relax here. Nice deep breath in, deep breath out. This next one, we're going to come into it again, but this time smooth. So let yourself come towards you and then all the way back. Relax that effort and notice what you notice. Take a deep breath in and then From here, go ahead and take a hold of the thigh, that top thigh. Carry it in and lace up your fingers behind the knee. Give the right side of the belly a little squeeze. Option to bring the strap behind that right knee. Little squeeze into the right side of the colon there. Feel and sense that ascending colon, where it starts, our starting point. Maybe you can feel underneath the rib cage, the liver area. Then go ahead and take that left leg over to the left. Pause there. Flex the right foot. Let it gently come upward, heel, up, up, up. And then floint the foot. So press below the big toe down. The heel might tap like mine to the chair. Then inhale up and exhale a floint. It's between a point and a flex. A little tap and one more. Up, up, up and all the way down. Let it rest. Both calves resting on the chair. Feel into the back body where you're resting on the blanket. Let the back of the head have a little rock. And notice what you notice. From the heels to the knees, from the knees down into the blanket, from hip to the shoulders, and take a deep breath. Let's come on over to the other side by dragging the left heel to the edge of the chair. The hand is there to meet and greet, and then you open and close that knee. So let it come outward and then inward. Option to use a strap at any time. Whatever feels delicious, go where it feels better. And then just a little slower, like the second hand on a clock. A little slower outward. That might be a challenge to move slower. So challenge yourself now to feel less. Maybe a smaller movement, a different angle, not 100% out and not 100% in. Notice the ease, the fluidity in the hip. Or is there sticky parts? Is it creaky? Does it feel stuck in some areas or skipping over? And how about one more just like that? Then let the thigh come on over the belly, interlace or strap behind the knee, flex that left foot, send it upward, and then go ahead and point and flex. A little bit of movement through the ankle, and now start to spin that foot around the ankle. And then the other direction. From here, go ahead and take the right foot behind that left thigh. And relax the left thigh on top of the right. So the knees are in the center. You can sense a light little squeeze of those knees in a resting state. And then an opening, a nice broadening and widening in the hips as they move outward. Take a deep breath wherever you find yourself here. And then exhale. On your next natural breath, take your time dragging the feet towards your belly so the thighs start to squeeze into the belly thereabouts. You pause for a moment and then gently back. Notice how well you can rest and what does it feel like in the lower back here. We'll come into that again. Drag the heels to the edge of the chair, thereabouts. Pause briefly, and then all the way back. Let yourself rest. This next one will be fluid-like. So go ahead and drag the heels towards you and then fluid-like all the way back home. Take a deep breath and exhale it all out. This is where you reach for that top leg. Cradle it in. Use a strap or interlace the fingers, or maybe both. From here, flex that foot, send it upward, and then floint the foot. So press just below the big toe mound down. So the energy isn't running to the tip of the toes. It's below the toes in that transverse arch, the meaty part. It's like a half moon shape, just below the toes, specifically between the first and the second toe. And how about one more just like that, like a yawn up and then down. Drag the right foot over. Let the left calf, let them rest now. And sense and feel as you scan from the heels to the knees, down into the blanket, through to the shoulders, a light little rock in the back of the skull. Take your time. Beautiful. And then from here, you're going to drag your heels to the end of the chair, walk them over to the edge, and come over to your side body. You can take the blanket right out. We'll use it later, or you can use it underneath the head in our cat pulling its tail. I'm going to use my monkey feet here just to press the chair over just a little bit. So if that's you, please do, if you need a little bit more room. And then feel this top leg. I'm on my right side. My top leg is my left leg. I'm going to help it come forward and then rest the knee down and maybe outreach the lower leg or bring it in, whatever feels more comfortable. That bottom right leg, like a yawn, I'm going to stretch it out. That bottom leg is my tail in this one. So feel the toes. Scooch them, so press into the floor and scooch that right thigh back and feel into the pelvis, broadening and widening. This is where you might need the strap. So as you bend the right knee, if you can't take a hold of that foot, then go ahead and
wrap the strap around, and this is where you're going to play. A little press into the strap and a little tug back. A little press, a little tug. Or you use the hand. A little press into the hand. And you find these places, eyes closed, where you can feel a little work happening maybe in the hip, that hip crease of that tail. So the right hip crease, the quadricep. And then from here, option to bring the blanket behind the head. We're going to come into a back bend, so we can restore this up if you'd like. So bring the blanket behind. Then the lower arm that you're using as a pillow comes forward. The head comes down. You can roll the back of the head into the blanket or not. So you can have that lower arm forward, head rolling into the floor or the blanket, hanging on to that tail, the foot or the strap. A little press into the hand and feel that bow shape of the spinal column, the rib cage, all the way through. Take a few deep breaths, enjoying the opening of the heart center. A beautiful contraction of the whole back body. Allow the belly to rise and fall. And one more breath, just like that. Then release the foot, that right foot. Let it come all the way down and roll flat on your back. Scan the body as you move the toes. Feel that right side like you've divided the body right down the center. Feel the right, that was our tail, all the way up to the hip crease. From the hip to the shoulder. All the way through the neck. And down the other side. Feel that contrast as the brain starts to sort and register this valuable information. Take another breath there. And then we'll go ahead and bend up the knees. Scooch the hips over to the right, and you roll over to the other side now. So let yourself rest there on that side, using the lower arm as your pillow. You can have the strap resting on that upper edge. So now I'm laying on my left side. I'm going to take that top leg forward and rest the inner knee all the way to the ankle. And then reach down through the other leg, your tail, all the way downward. And just notice how that feels. Make a little room if you need to. I'm having to make a little room. Then press the left toes into the floor and start to scooch that thigh back, as far back as you comfortably can. So feel into the hip crease, make sure it's happy. So some days it is, some days it isn't. And then from there, once you feel that broadening and widening to the back of the pelvis, go ahead and play. You can see if the hand can reach that foot, or maybe it feels better to lasso that foot. And just notice how that feels.
You can lasso it and then close the eyes, a little tug back and forth. Notice which muscles you're using here. Become playful. Hands down, one of my favorite poses. To come into that thigh, hip crease, and a beautiful passive back bend when we add on the second part. So if that doesn't feel available ever, then know that you can stay here. Perfect. Yin poses you can stay in for anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. So if that's you, give yourself permission to stay here, or you can bring the blanket behind the head to restore it up a bit, or go ahead and lengthen through that lower arm. Roll the head down. Let it hit the ground. Hang on to that back foot with the hand or the strap. And feel for a moment as you press into the hand or the strap, the muscles involved on that top edge, through the rib cage, the spinal column arcing, a beautiful bow pose. Notice what you feel here. Let the body breathe. Deep inhale through the nose, fill up, and then a few more just like that. And then 2 more breaths. From here, you'll let go of the tail. Come onto your back. If your chair is close by, go ahead and bring the calves back onto the chair. Use the blanket as a blanket. The strap can go off to your side. Anything over the eyes, like an eye pillow, or even the strap is such a nice thing to use over the eyes. Just a little bit of weight, deeper darkness, this fabric. And rest as you scan the body now. From the feet to the knees, down to the hips, to the shoulders. Job well done. Let yourself rest in your Shavasana. Final resting pose. And thank you for your practice. Namaste.